Live from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the general manager of the Philadelphia Eagles, Howie Roseman.
Yeah, what's up, guys? How we doing?
Hey, thankful that you joined our show today. I know we kept you waiting a few minutes, so thank you for the patience, and we appreciate you, man. Let's dive right in. What an awesome...
Well, I'll tell you what. I hear it's a special day. Happy birthday, brother.
Thank you, Howie.
Great thing.
That is very kind of you. I appreciate that. A lot of people have been saying it. I've been overwhelmed with the amount of kindness that people have sent my way today, so I was going to try to power through you even saying it, so I appreciate you making that happen, Howie. Okay, appreciate you. Let's dive in. What an offseason for you. Honestly, you and the Philadelphia Eagles have had a massive offseason. Obviously, the way last year ends is not the way anybody associated with the city or the organization want to have happen. But this offseason, you sign extensions to a bunch of people. You bring in Saquon Barkley. You make a trade to get Cooper DeJean. It's like, did you feel the need to be super aggressive this offseason, spend money, make a big play? Or why are we at this point, you think, Howie, in your mind?
Yeah, I think obviously the disappointment of last year and not wanting to feel like that again to the extent that we can. Obviously, it's hard to win championships. Kind of being to the couple of Super Bowls over the last few years we've been to, I think our standards are really high of what is a successful season, especially when we have the capabilities, and the capabilities are on and off the field, having the right people on and off the field. And that's my responsibility. That starts with me. And so when we don't have the end of the season that we want, I think that starts with my responsibility and what can I do to do a better job to give us a chance to win and go into next season with the right people. And so I think that, as we sit here today, we still got a lot of work to do. Obviously, haven't been at any on-field practices, but encouraged by the people that we brought in and the people that we still have here.
Okay, and before AJ and the boys have their questions, I have to bring up Saquon. Hey.
Great player.
Made a lot of people pissed at one place, made a lot of people pumped at the new home, and it feels like a weapon that's dynamic that'll only add to a Jalen Hurts offense. Was this a pretty easy decision for you to make, or how did we decide to get Saquon over to the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yeah, it's hard to get difference makers, and he's a difference maker on and off the field. The way he plays, kind of his skill set is unique. Obviously, have had a front row seat on the receiving line of some of these runs that you're going to show. You can certainly show some of the runs against us that have been explosive. And then he can really do it all. He can run routes. He's an unbelievable pass protector. And again, just a great person. And obviously he played college ball in this state, so being able to watch him from afar. And, I guess sometimes, you kind of try to get on the front end of things or at least kind of do something opposite. I've always felt like the league's a little bit of a bell curve, and like if everyone's doing the same things in the middle, you're probably in that middle range, and you got to do things that maybe put you a little bit at risk, but also give you a chance to have that confetti fall on your head in the end. And obviously we got a long way to go to do that. But, where the running backs were, and these guys are touching the ball 300 times for your football team. They're not touching the ball. They're touching the ball more than anyone but your quarterback and your center, hopefully. And so they do have a huge impact. And, that goes back to with Coach Reed and Brian Westbrook. And then when I was the GM, LaShawn McCoy. And so it's not so out of left field for what our philosophy has been here since I've been here.
Huge, though, coming from the Giants to the Eagles, obviously, with the entire, just like Patrick Queen went from Baltimore to Pittsburgh. There was a few of those that happened this offseason as opposed to years past. And I don't think I saw one person for Philly who, a lot of staters, Penn Staters, yes. Philadelphia area, a lot of that. Getting him back in town is obviously a glorious move. Good for you, Howie. Go ahead, AJ.
Howie, you mentioned the center position. Obviously, you guys, huge loss with Jason Kelce retiring. Obviously, unbelievable player for your organization for a long time. How do you replace a guy like that? And can you talk a little bit about what he actually meant to that franchise and the people there and everything about it? Because that guy is just he's a real gem. He seems to be somebody I feel like from all corners of the earth, you have to love that dude.
Everybody.
The best. And you don't replace that. And I think that it would be disingenuous to even pretend like we're going to replace Jason Kelce, the person and the player. I mean, this is a first ballot Hall of Famer, both on and off the field. And so, I think for us, we got to just, we got to continue to build the team. It's the ultimate team game. to understand that he is a huge loss. Fletcher Cox is a huge loss for our organization, our football team. The only thing we could do is we tried to get our young guys around them as much as possible so that they can absorb it, so they could see what amazing players and people they were, but also that it doesn't come easy in this league to be great at whatever job you have, that you have to work at it, that those guys were our hardest workers. They had an unbelievable love of the game. They had an unbelievable love of this team and this city. And I feel like, I certainly wouldn't be sitting here today without Jason Kelce. And I'm including Fletch, too, because obviously we lost him as well.
Hell yeah. Fletch, Cox and Kelce have been two guys holding down the trenches in Philly for as long as I can remember. And when it comes to Jason Kelce, he said it's all but inked. He's coming to ESPN. Hey, let's go.
Here we go.
We're like, the world's lucky.
Hey,
We're gonna get...
You don't got to rub it in, dude. You don't got to rub it in.
Oh, yeah,
he came
to our team, Howie. Sorry about it. Yeah.
I know. You know what? You know what, though? I mean, the other thing that we talk about is just, for me as a GM, to be able to have these guys, and we still obviously have Lane and BG, and those guys, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013 drafts, boom, 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 to get those guys and been through everything that we've gone together, and to have those guys and to be able to call them and say, hey, I'm thinking about this. How do you think it would affect the team? I mean, special. Now, never replace those guys, but feel like a lot of the guys that we still have in this building have the chance to be this 10, 15-year Eagle players with a chance to go maybe even to the NFL Hall of Fame. So
yeah, especially with you get a Super Bowl, a lot of that conversation amplifies. You guys certainly did. And you talk about 2010, 2011 through now, how you've gone through it all. You have the departure of Doug Pederson and Carson Wentz and everything from outside looking in. We are a regional show, but we're not boots on the ground everywhere, so we don't hear it. It sounded like Doug and you guys had a mutual agreement, and then Carson Wentz and the Eagles seemingly mutual agreement to go separate ways. There was just a statue put up about both of them for winning a Super Bowl like a year and a half before that. So it's like, well, Nick Foles, but it's like, and he leaves as well. It's when you're the guy that's making these decisions, I assume you can get on the shins a lot through all of that. Like, how do you decide that? And then when you get back with Jalen Hurts, how pumped are you to be like, yes, I made the right? Do you feel vindication there, even though it looks different? No. How do you balance all that?
No, I don't know that in this job we ever have a chance to really think about what we do. Like somebody asked me this morning, like when you're going through the draft, do you get a real good sense of what's going on and what you're doing? And I legitimately, I take a big drink of mezcal on Saturday night, and I looked through kind of the draft and where we were and what the decisions we made were for the first time really on Saturday night. And I think there'll be a day that hopefully, I'll get a chance to sit back and kind of think about everything that went on here. But these jobs are too hard to really kind of get stuck in the moment, and you got to just keep moving forward. And you talk about two people, certainly won a championship with them, great people, really good people, and those are hard decisions. And I think, these jobs, that's why these jobs are hard, because they're not the easy ones. They're not, being able to sign Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, guys like that. Those are easy, right?
Congratulations, by the way, you're not done. Congrats on that and a lot of other guys.
I think the hard ones are where, you feel like you got to make those decisions. And the coaching staff, Jeffrey, our owner, who's unbelievable, he takes care of the head coach, and that's his responsibility. But obviously, Coach Pederson, he's shown it in Jacksonville, tremendous coach. And for us with Carson, we knew that the most important thing was what we were going to do with the results of that trade, what we were going to do with the money, what we were going to do with the picks that we got from that trade. Okay. And none of it would have mattered unless we made the right decisions. And we got to continue to make the right decisions all the time to give our team the best chance of winning.
Well, congratulations on it all working out, seemingly, because there was a conversation like, holy shit, Philadelphia's at the promised land. We got people eating horse poop on parade routes and climbing telephone poles, and it's like, okay, and then
beautiful thing.
Only in Philly, baby.
Yep.
Only in Philly, baby. Those Johns over there, we appreciated the opportunity to watch them celebrate something that hadn't happened in 50 years.
Me too.
Yeah, amen.
Me too.
Amen.
Let's do it again.
You want more horse poop getting eaten over there?
Yeah, I don't really care about that. I'll watch it and I'll laugh. That's a beautiful thing. We got to get back, but it's a long road and obviously a long process and a lot of good teams.
Yeah, I'll watch these Johns eat that horse poop, but yeah, and I'll laugh. Yeah. We're trying to get to that point again. Connor's got a question for you, Howie.
Yeah, Howie, it feels like because you led Philadelphia to the promised land and that guy did eat horse poop, he's been, an up and down, pretty pissed at you, then pretty pumped with you because of the fact that the Eagles have gone through, some turnover. And there, I think it was last year or 2 years ago at the Saints, I think you guys were playing in New Orleans and there were Eagles fans there, and you basically walked up to him like, look what Howie did again, bitch. But how is that love-hate relationship?
You did. Okay,
we remember. If we really wanted to, we could pull the clip.
I don't think it was exactly how you're describing.
No.
I think it's I think it's cooler how you're describing how it actually was.
How is that relationship though? Like handling a city that is so passionate, which is what you want in a fan base, while also realizing that you do have to deal with people who will eat poop, whether they're pissed or happy about the team.
Yeah, I think it gives me the opportunity to constantly reinvent myself and make sure that I'm doing my job to the best of my ability. There are such high standards here, and so I can never kind of sit still. I got to constantly try to figure out ways to improve this team because I am really my job. I'm not going to be here forever. My job is a steward of this franchise. I owe it to certainly our players, our coaches, our staff, our fans, our ownership, to do whatever I can to make sure we're the best possible situation. And that's not only for the short term and the long term. And so, for me, I love it. I love the fact that, if we have a down moment, I got to do whatever I can quickly. There is no rebuilding here. It's retooling. I am proud of the fact that, we've had a chance 6 of the last 7 years to go to the playoffs. Obviously, sick about the year that we didn't get there and a chance to compete, because the only way you can win a championship is to get in the tournament. And I think that's the first step of it. And obviously it's due to great people that we have on and off the field, great staff, and, great players. We're nothing without our players. And I think for us, we try to do whatever we can to support them and put them in great spots. And our fans, it's one thing, they can say it to us, but man, if you came from Dallas and they started talking smack to me, somebody else is eating horse poop.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Howie. The Eagles fans have always had that reputation. There's a jail in the stadium. Mm-hmm. Where's that? Philadelphia. How come? Well, you know why. You just heard the city it's in. And then all of a sudden, you win, have success. Sirianni told us one time, he said, we're in the middle of trying to rebuild. I was getting booed going into half of my first preseason game. People were telling me about my shit. It's hey, we don't have time for you to figure out what football is. That is not what we're here for. And you want that, you need that. But I could assume there's some nights where it's a little bit uncomfortable hearing what some people are saying about you. Yeah. Got to be a strong-minded person, Howie. Way to go.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, you got to want that challenge. And I think when we win, there's nothing better. There's no place that celebrates it better than this city. I like the challenge. I mean, you reminded me of a story we played on the Thursday night game after we won a world championship. We got shut out at half and we got booed off the field.
Banner night.
Yeah. And I was last year after we lost in the Super Bowl, I was speaking at an event, and that the first question raised their hand. It was a 12-year-old kid, and they're like, "Hey, Howie," he's like, how are you gonna make up for picking Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson? And this is 12. I mean, they're being raised, So I get it. I understand the market we're in.
They're being raised.
I kind of embrace the challenge of it, and it's a proven mentality. We got to all have this proven mentality, and that's year to year. That's part of that's pre-agency. That's draft. That's here. In the next few months, trying to find every edge and. I feel proud to be part of this fan base and this city.
Yeah, it's a 12-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
We were just in a Super Bowl.
12-year-old.
We're just in a Super Bowl. I mean, what are we? We won one.
I'm young.
There's a couple of Super Bowls. These kids are being raised to ask me what the hell I'm doing. That is fantastic. I'm thinking of Vince Papale.
Yep.
And that entire bar. Some kid coming in being like, "You see that face right there? You ever get a chance to talk to him? You ask him what the hell he was thinking when a Minnesota play." That's amazing. That's beautiful. That's what you want from a fan base. But also, I'm happy I'm not in your position. Couldn't handle it. Go ahead, AJ.
Howie, can you speak a little bit about your first-round pick, Mitchell, the corner from Toledo? It looks very good when you watch him on film. And leading up to that pick at 22, were you calling around? Were people calling you? You trying to move? And the beginning of that first round, did it play out like you thought it might?
Yeah, I think there was a point in the draft room where Jeffrey looked at me and he said, I'm not used to you like not really being on the phone as much as possible. Like, you okay? Is something going on? Yeah, I think that we're always moving and shaking and trying to figure out ways. But we got to a point in that first round based on where the offensive players were going, based where the quarterbacks were going, where our board looked good for where we were picking. And it felt like patience made some sense at that moment. I'm not sure it makes a lot of sense in a lot of moments in my life, but at that moment in time, it did, and felt really fortunate to get him. Certainly, one of the guys that was in the mix was our second round pick at 22, and so we kind of spent really even coming back from my press conference right after the draft, like trying to figure out a way to see if we could go up and get him and get two guys that we had rated as first rounders, and we certainly don't usually have 32 first rounders. We didn't have them in this draft, so to have the opportunity to get two of those guys and great people. We talked again, like not only guys who have a chance to be really good players in this league, but two really, really good people. And we're trying to make sure that not only do we have great players, but we have great people, and we know we got to develop them too. Nobody comes in and finished product. I always felt like, and you didn't ask me this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. But I feel like this is the only profession in the world where you come in and if you're not good right away, the expectations are you're not successful at it. And so I feel like we have an obligation to develop our players, to develop them as players and people, and understand. Man, I'm certainly glad there weren't phones and cameras around when I was 22 years old or 23 years old, and so. That's on us, and we got to just kind of do the best we can to surround them and give them every resource possible to be the best that they can be.
I don't know if you got to see our draft spectacular at all with Bill Belichick, but that was his big angle pretty much leading into it. He was like, I would like to let people know that none of these guys, they all have things they have to work on, right, because the normal draft process is like Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer, and Bill's like, this is not how this is. Like, there's a lot of shit,
I was just watching. I wish I did watch it because I could listen to Coach Belichick talk for freaking days, and just even talking the story about the Randy Moss trade and how that went down, and just listen to. Though I will tell you, the first highlight of Randy Moss, you threw like an 8-yard slant where he went for like 12. Do you know how many highlights I could find of Randy Moss that are better than that first highlight? It was like,
I agree.
What is going on here?
Had the exact same thought.
As the most boring Randy.
What?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. That's on us though. We just grabbed a Randy Moss package. That's literally. We have access to these things. We just grabbed a Randy Moss package. So I don't want to point accountability out of this building, but you're right. I mean, Randy Moss.
Yep, a lot of touchdowns.
12-yard play. Randy Moss. That is not. He actually has a play called Mossing somebody.
I couldn't even get over it. I'm watching it. And I'm just thinking if that was like. Our website showing A.J. Brown, our PR director, Bob Lang, he does an unbelievable job sitting right here. I'd be calling him and ripping his ass. I'm like, that's the best we can do for A.J. Brown? I mean, come on.
Are we trying to sell A.J. Brown here? Or okay, A.J. Brown, basic-ass wide receiver. All right. That's beautiful. I appreciate the way your brain works, Howie. Now, we talked about the draft a little bit. I believe somebody also would like to talk about the draft. Coach Sirianni's here.
Yeah, Howie, first and foremost, would just like to say it's an absolute honor working with you day in, day out. Best GM in the business. There's no two ways about that. AJ,
is Howie a dog or no?
Howie's an absolute fucking dog. Everybody knows
I'm not feeling this. I was expecting a little bit more accent, a little more enthusiasm. Coach Sirianni has never talked that level to me.
Well, it's not game day, Howie. Okay, it's not fucking game day.
Oh, it's always game day here.
It's not game day right now. Okay, it's off-season program. Okay, so why don't you just let me get through the fucking question, Howie, and then we can get to it. Okay, you're about to see the dog come out in the fucking second here, Howie. But just curious, I know I told you come off the field not too long ago, hey, O-line, D-line, Howie. O-line, D-line. That clip's been everywhere. Obviously, first two picks of the draft, we go cornerback, a position of need for us. I believe Cooper DeJean, a lot of people say he might be the best player in the draft. He's the great white hope. Everybody knows that. Is that a situation where, we were just kind of shocked that he fell to where he was at in the draft, surprised he was still there, and did you jump the Packers because you knew, hey, they're going to get Cooper DeJean right now. Listen, I love the pick. He's an absolute fucking dog. I'm gonna love adding him, to the soil in order to grow, as a full mature plant with the rest of the
a tree almost now.
Well, I mean, a lot of people will argue he's already a tree. He just needs a little seasoning in the soil. But what was the impetus behind trading up for Cooper DeJean? I already know. Obviously, we've discussed this, but if you want to fill the people in, that would be great, Howie.
Yeah, I would say first, I mean, you said something that hit me, Coach. You talked about O-line, D-line, and that's where it always starts. And I think when you look at our offseason, being able to extend Jordan Mailata, being able to extend Landon Dickerson.
Hell yeah.
Cam Jurgens, we drafted in the second round, started at right guard, was a Pro Bowl alternate last year. We drafted Tyler Steen in the third round last year. And obviously Lane Johnson, in my opinion, is a first ballot Hall of Fame player as well. So It starts there with being able to have those guys. We signed a couple guys in free agency. We just signed another guy in free agency. So it's got to start there, And then you look on the defensive line and getting the opportunity to get Bryce Huff here, bring back Josh Sweat. We had drafted Nolan Smith in the first round, and then obviously Brandon Graham, and we have a bunch of young guys we like. And then inside, we've spent a lot of resources on the defensive tackles, with Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter and Milton Williams, and we're young there, but excited about that. But until those things get settled to a point, it's hard to do anything else. I think that's really where, to use your words, Coach, the roots of the team come from, right? So I think it then allows us to kind of build out and get playmakers on both sides of the ball. And when you talk about Cooper's a playmaker. I think that at the end of the day, football instincts, any sort of instincts are huge in whatever you do, and he's got elite instincts. Wherever you put him, he is a playmaker. He has a nose for the ball. You've seen it do it in clutch moments. Obviously you saw what happened in that Minnesota game.
That was bullshit, Howie. Everybody knows it.
Yeah. I hear you, but even when he was a freshman, in the bowl game against Kentucky, chasing down Wandell Robertson at the 1 yard line, and his ability to play all around the secondary and make plays. And so, for us, certainly we don't know what anyone else is going to do, but it was important for us to try to get that guy. We thought this guy was a culture guy. We thought this guy had a chance to be an elite player in this league, just like we did our first round pick. And so we were aggressive there in the second round to try to bring him to Philly.
Coach, I think you said all around the secondary there. Are you guys thinking safety for Cooper DeJean, or is he going to play corner, Coach?
No, well, listen, Howie's not going to be making that decision, okay? I'm going to make the ultimate decision on that. Cooper DeJean he's going to play cornerback, okay? So for everybody
I'm hearing safety from what
Yeah, well, anyone who's saying this guy is a safety, he's not athletic to play cornerback is a fucking idiot, okay?
He is an elite athlete.
I
don't even understand that. Elite. I mean, the guy's coming off an injury and still running, low 4.4s and freaking jumping out of the gym. And do you need to put his dunks on instead of watching you kick around that soccer ball, Pat?
Oh, watch it, Howie! We've already got enough tread out of the Cooper DeJean high school basketball highlights. We were running a bunch because, obviously, Seahorn was a dog. Seahorn was an absolute dog. And then we see, and then the whole, Cooper DeJean.
There we go.
Yeah. I mean, he was a beast. Now, he's playing against elite competition out there in Iowa as well. Iowa basketball is known.
Very good. Everyone knows it.
Everyone knows it. Absolutely. All right, Coach Sirianni, we appreciate you stopping by.
Absolutely.
Coach.
You're best in business, Howie. That's why we love you.
You're my guy.
You guys do kibbles and bits on Thursdays, or what is the whole dog mentality between you and Coach Sirianni? Like, no offense to you. The first
None
thing.
taken.
Okay.
Maybe. We'll see.
Anytime somebody says that, normally something offensive is coming.
Yeah,
But let me reword it. With all due respect.
There it is.
Again, no respect is coming. No respect is coming. All due respect means no respect is coming. Just whatever you got, I can take it. I work in Philly.
Take this however you want.
Boom, there it is.
Okay, there it is. When I think of you, and I think the way you've been described is like a incredible, like not only salary cap guru, but number analytic, like super nerd, like super. And then you got Sirianni comes in, it's like, fucking dog. We're eating kibbles and bits. Well, that's all we want. Like, are you two a perfect match, you think? And how much do you think you guys share a belief of how football should be between you and Coach Sirianni?
Yeah, I think that's the great part about going through the interview process when you're interviewing head coaches is trying to be aligned on how you build a team. And obviously, I've been very fortunate to work for Coach Reed when I first became a GM, and kind of like the whole time, the success we had with Coach Reed, and I was really affected by it. And when you do the interview process, getting someone to talk through what they believe in and making sure you're aligned, you certainly wouldn't want to have a relationship. I think it's really your football marriage. It's no different than when you get married, and making sure that your values are aligned so you don't get into arguments about things that are philosophical. And so Coach and I definitely believe in how to build a team. And, we've had a lot of examples of just like kind of watching players separately and coming together and saying things at the same time and what we're looking for. But it also, having trust. I'm not looking to coach the team. I'm not looking to make a play call on 3rd and 7. And he has total trust in me and what I'm going to do in the offseason, to kind of build this team. And I think that's the most important thing. You got to have trust in the people that you work with. Otherwise, there's no relationship, without trust. And I think that comes over time, and really proud of the fact that he's been our coach for 3 years. We have 3 playoff appearances. Again, last year didn't go the way we wanted to at the end of the year. But also, we've seen what it looks like when it's good. And, winning the NFC was a great accomplishment for him in his second year.
From that opening press conference to what we've learned about him and the success, it's like, what a change. And like, oh, we love this. We love this human. And then the way he reacts after games, getting mic'd up, and then, learning about Big Dom.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So learning about I've heard that from everybody. Jason Kelce shouted him out in his retirement speech.
Yep.
Big Dom, I appreciate you. Everybody talks about him. He was kicked off the sideline, obviously, for the altercation during the San Francisco 49ers game. That was when the world was kind of introduced to him. Do they have like an Italian night that you go to? And you guys just kind of chit-chat about life? Or
Yeah, you know what's funny? I'm surrounded by all this. My kids call my mom Nona. Like I have this inferior, like I have this complex. I think I'm Italian anyway. But, you mentioned Dom and you mentioned Dom and what he does for this team, and I think he is the protector of this team. He's always looking out for all of us. Any type of adversity that I've had, he's always been the first person to call me, come find me. He's got a great sense of players and kind of how they're wired, and so he's a big part of this football team. I'm glad that he's gotten some of the attention that he deserves because of the person and really the addition that he is to our football team.
Yeah, I love just learning about him. Mm-hmm. Plus those super cool glasses.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I saw him in Mania. He had a little boot on. I hope his foot's okay. I don't know if his foot or his ankle, but he'll survive.
Yeah, luckily we got those short-term IR spots, right? So we can bring him back so we're not losing him for the year. He's a quick healer, and he's a better athlete than you think too. You can't throw him a ball he doesn't catch. Now, he doesn't want to throw it because he's got like shoulders and freaking feet, and he's got all these sort of issues. So I don't know that we're signing him on the field to a long-term contract, but man, off the field.
When you're spearing, people that are saying bad things about the Eagles literally every day. Mm-hmm. There's a chance that a little mozzarella can potentially build up, in each one of the old AC joints. I enjoyed the world talking about him last year just because strictly hilarious situation that never happens in the NFL, but also how much love everybody over there seemingly has for him. You done good, Big Dom.
Yeah.
You done good. Even though the NFL says, get that Italian piece of shit off the sideline. We don't agree with that at all. We don't like that. We don't like that. Go ahead, AJ.
Howie, a guy you guys got later in the draft actually feels like a great Philly move for you is Will Shipley. We know this dude runs hard. He's, I think, watching him in college, it's a lot of fun. What do you envision his role might be? I've read where Saquon's already reached out to him and everything. What does that backfield look like, and what kind of role do you think Will could have early in his career?
Yeah, I there's not a lot of things that get me more excited than when underclassmen come out into the draft in January, and I look and we don't have a lot of reports on them, and I feel like I could, it'd be the first time I write the first report on guys, and watching Will, just his skill set, his ability to contribute as a route runner, to contribute between the tackles. He's got unbelievably quick feet. He's got balance. He's got a mentality. I mean, this guy is like, all-American person as well. If I remember correctly, I think he was like a Gatorade Carolina Player of the Year coming out of high school, 5-star recruit. And, when you watch him, he's got a lot of the great skill set that the great players in this league have. Obviously, we got a great player there. But it's a long season. You want to have guys in the backfield. We still have Kenny Gainwell. We had signed a couple of guys after the draft, but he just stuck out to us on the board of the kind of player he can be, the skill set he can be. You can put him as a slot receiver. He can return kicks. So really was excited to get him in the 4th round.
Okay, last question here, and we can't thank you enough for your time. It's about later in the draft. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, Howie, it felt like you guys had a lot of trades towards the later rounds, day 3, end of day 2, day 3 picks. How has NIL affected like those later rounds? Now, I don't know how many players it is. Say there's 100 players who would normally be in the draft, but are staying in college because they're making money now. How has that affected those late rounds in the draft?
Yeah, not only NIL, but the COVID year, being able to come back to school because of the COVID year, and that'll be gone next year. And we were short a couple picks in next year's draft. We had traded a 4th round. We had traded a 6th round pick. And so it was important as we started the 3rd day to see if we can recoup some of that and get us a chance to kind of go back into it next year with more picks. As we pay our players who are deserving. I mean, there's nothing more important to culture than people feeling like if I do the right thing, I can stay here. I get a chance to be here for my career. And so when you do that, though, you need young players too to supplement it. And the only way to do that is through the draft, really. And so you need as many picks as you possibly can get. And I think that's a huge part of what we're trying to do here. And is trying to get some of these young guys on our team with the right mentality, the right skill set. Because we know, our goal is to try to play, certainly 20 games. That's a lot of games. That's a lot of players who we're going to need to contribute through that process. So depth is no more important than anywhere than the National Football League.
Amen. And the amount of backup quarterbacks that had to play, last year is making a lot of people make certain decisions and the way salary caps are being constructed in the future. You got your guy in Jalen. I know you don't have a lot of time left, but I assume you love everything about Jalen Hurts. I mean, it seems like everything. The internet, he's so perfect, seemingly, the internet actually hates him.
That's right.
He's so powerful, attractive, talented, and rich.
Yep.
It's like there's no way this guy could be
wait,
real.
wait. You missed, and a great person. I
they
guess
never talk about that.
That's not a good thing either these days. It's like that's like let's hate on the person who just cares about others, and But listen, I get it. Obviously,
I get
for
it.
Us, it is what it is, and we just got to keep working hard, and good things will happen.
You love Jalen, though. You're lucky to have him.
Love Jalen. Lucky to have him. Feel really, really honored to be around the people that I'm around every day and the players. Nothing makes me more proud that I got 4 kids that when they can walk around and see our players and knowing how good of people we have, and then they get on the field and they're just freaking, wouldn't want to be with any other group.
Bunch of dogs you got over there.
Yeah.
Just like you, Howie. Way to go. A hell of a ride since you became GM. We've seen the mountaintop. Now we're trying to get back with a whole new team. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you for joining us.
Happy birthday, brother. Many, many more. Thanks for everyone taking the time and the questions. Coach Sirianni, I'll see you in about 5 minutes. We got a team meeting, I heard.
Coach is already at team meeting, obviously, right? Coach, you down the hallway?
Yeah. Get there quick, Howie. Dragging ass, pal. Okay, let's go. We need some more fucking dogs in here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Howie Roseman. Thank you, Howie.
Yeah,